The Northern Silence, an Epic of the Sky. Chapter 1. The Breath of the Arctic. The North Pole was not a place of tinsel and tinkling bells on the night of December 23, 2025. It was a place of iron-blue shadows and wind that sounded like the sharpening of 1 billion ice shards. Inside the great hangar, the atmosphere was thick with the scent of fermented lichen and ozone. Nicholas, known to the world as Santa, but to the creatures of the North as the Old Man of the Tundra, was not wearing his velvet suit. He wore heavy, weathered furs stained with the grease of 1,000 sleigh runners. He stood before the lead, Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, and Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner, and Blitzen, and at the very front, the one the others called the Beacon. They weren't the cartoon animals of storybooks. These were Sammy reindeer, massive creatures with antlers like crown jewels, and eyes that held the reflection of the aurora borealis. Their hooves didn't just step on snow, they stepped on the currents, the invisible magnetic lines that crisscross the globe. Chapter 2. The Great Magnetic Storm. "The sky is bleeding, Nicholas," a voice rumbled. It was Donner, the eldest of the herd. Through the shared breath, the telepathic link between the rider and the team, the reindeer could speak. A massive solar flare, the strongest of the decade, was slamming into Earth's atmosphere. The GPS systems of the world were failing, but for the reindeer, it was worse. The magnetic currents they used to navigate were twisting into knots. The sky road was breaking. "If we don't fly," Nicholas whispered, "the hope of the world dims." Not because of the toys, but because of the promise that light returns in the darkest hour. Rudolph stepped forward. His nose wasn't glowing with a light bulb's hum. It was a rhythmic, pulsing heat, a bioluminescent reaction to the magnetic chaos. He was the only one who could see the path through the storm. Chapter 3. The Ascent. At exactly midnight on the 24th, the great gates opened. "Hike!" Nicholas roared. The takeoff was not a graceful float, it was a violent, thundering surge of power. The reindeer dug their hooves into the air, finding purchase on the ether. Within seconds, they were at 30,000 feet, screaming across the Arctic Circle at Mach 4. The friction would have incinerated a normal craft, but the sleigh was protected by a kinetic shield generated by the rhythmic beating of the reindeers' hearts. This is the magic of Christmas, a biological resonance between the team and the pilot. Chapter 4. The Shadow in the Sky. As they crossed over the North Atlantic, they hit the void. The solar storm had created a pocket of zero magnetism. The sleigh began to tumble. "Vixen, Comet, hold the line!" Nicholas cried. Vixen, the most agile of the team, felt the sleigh slipping. She pushed her muscles to the breaking point, her lungs burning in the thin, freezing air. She wasn't just pulling a sleigh, she was pulling the collective weight of human expectation. Suddenly, a sky whale, a rare atmospheric phenomenon of glowing gas, loomed in their path. "Rudolph, give me everything." The lead reindeer's nose flared into a brilliant, blinding crimson. It cut through the gas like a laser, illuminating a narrow tunnel of stabilized air. The team surged through, their antlers crackling with static electricity. Chapter 5. The Logistics of Joy. People often ask how Santa visits every home. The answer lies in temporal dilation. As the reindeer reach peak velocity, time for them slows down while the rest of the world moves at a crawl. To a child in London, Santa is there for a second. To Nicholas and the reindeer, they spend what feels like 3 hours in every city, carefully navigating the rooftops. But this year the fatigue was setting in. Blitzen was limping, his magic reserve running low. "Rest, old friend," Nicholas sent through the shared breath. "We lean on the others now." In a display of incredible pack loyalty, Cupid and Prancer shifted their weight, taking the brunt of the load so Blitzen could glide in the slipstream. This is the reindeer code. No one flies alone. Chapter 6. The Home Stretch. By the time they reached the final time zone in the Pacific, the reindeer were ghosts of themselves. Their fur was frosted with ice from the stratosphere, and their breath came in heavy silver clouds. They landed on the final roof, a small shack on an island in the Kiribati chain. Nicholas climbed back into the sleigh, his bag finally empty. He looked at his team. They were shivering, their heads bowed in exhaustion. He walked to the front and embraced Rudolph, then Donner, then each of them in turn. "You did it," he whispered. "The currents are stabilizing. The sun is coming back." Chapter 7. The Return to the Silence. The flight back to the North Pole was silent and slow. The hurry was gone. As they touched down in the great hangar, the elves didn't cheer with loud bells. They stood in a silent line, holding bowls of warm, nutrient-rich mash and blankets made of silver thread. The reindeer were unharnessed. They didn't go to stalls. They went to the Great Meadow, an indoor sanctuary where the floor was heated by volcanic vents. Nicholas sat on a wooden bench watching them eat. He knew that in the morning the world would wake up to find packages and joy. Never knowing about the magnetic storms, the sky whales, or the reindeer who nearly broke their hearts to keep a promise. "Same time next year?" Nicholas asked. Donner looked up, a piece of lichen hanging from his mouth, his eyes glowing with a tired but steady light. Through the shared breath, a single word came back. Always.